So let me go and start with the first set because this is the most important one, and I know there are many questions around this. So what do I mean by graduate program characteristics? Okay, what I mean by this is look at the curriculum. Okay, every school will and every degree will offer what you call a curriculum, which is a defined set of courses, experiences, and requirements that are necessary for the person to graduate with either the master's, the MBA, or the PhD, or the PsyD. I'm sorry about this computer message. Next, take a look at the educational institution, the mission of the school, the reputation, and accreditation. And the third is alignment with professional associations. Different degrees align with different associations. For example, IO psychology programs are aligned with the Society of IO Psychology, which is Division 14 of the American Psychological Association. And there's another related division, which is Division 13 of the APA, which focuses on consulting psychology. These different divisions are composed of academics and professionals who are in these specific fields, and they also have a major influence in guiding the curriculum, providing information and guidance as to what schools should offer in terms of content. Okay, so let's start with the most common one, which is the MBA, the Masters in Business Administration. I start with this particular degree because most people, this is perhaps the most common graduate degree, most people are interested in pursuing business, who want to work in organizations. This is the most common. And it is true that MBAs offer some courses that have an intersection with psychology. Okay, so on this slide you will see the most common typical courses in an MBA curriculum, everything from accounting to finance. Then you have at least one course in organizational behavior, or perhaps an elective in leadership. Then you have other functions of business management, such as marketing, technology, operations management, strategy, business and government, macroeconomics, and various electives, which could, by the way, include human resource management. And typically, it's a 2-year degree. The second year of an MBA usually involves an integrative MBA project, which is not quite a thesis, but it's a more applied project. Typical careers for MBAs are a manager or senior manager or above, usually starting with a specific function. So when you graduate from business school, you might start as a marketing manager, a finance manager, in a particular function. Then you work your way up the career ladder into a more general position, perhaps as a division manager or COO, or hopefully a COO at some point. General business manager, management consultant, as well as entrepreneur, these are also potential typical careers that people with an MBA have. Okay, the next degree is a master's in human resource management. So some schools offer this degree. I know Cornell University, for example, offers this kind of degree, a master's or even a PhD in HR, because that is the specialty of that school. Now, if you want to be a human resource generalist, really work in that function of human resource, this might be a good option for you. Some typical courses that are featured in this curriculum involve, of course, HR management, personnel selection, employment law, compensation and benefits, workplace ethics. There's usually a data analysis or decision-making course. And there are many other electives such as international HR, strategic human capital management, diversity and inclusion, etc. Now notice that the flavor of this is really intended to develop a human resource professional. Also, it's a very specialized area. Then another set of degrees is what you call the Industrial Organizational Psychology degree. IO psychology is defined both as a science and a practice, meaning to say it emerges from a strong theoretical and empirical foundation from the field of psychology. It really refers to the application of psychological principles to address the various problems related to human behavior in the workplace. And these are things like the issues I mentioned before, such as motivation, leadership, teamwork, recruitment, selection, retention, organizational effectiveness, job satisfaction, communication, etc. And also stress management, occupational health, and safety. These are common themes and topics that an IO psychologist studies. One of the things to note, if you haven't already, is that IO psychology is actually one of the fastest growing areas in psychology. There's a lot more information that's provided by SIOP, SIOP, which is Division 14 of the American Psychological Association. If you go to their website, there is a wealth of information about the field in general, different careers, and even the schools that offer these kinds of degrees. Within this field, there are master's and PhD degrees. Some programs are calling their degrees organizational psychology. This appears to be actually a newer development whereby the notion of industrial psychology is deemed by some to be sort of a thing of the past. When you think of industrial psychology, you're really thinking of personnel selection, etc. Whereas nowadays, many organizations are defining the field more in terms of organizational change, human capital, executive coaching, things like that. So it's actually the term it seems to be evolving from IO psychology towards organizational psychology. So when you hear IO or OP, they're pretty much the same thing, but different schools will offer different flavors to the curriculum. Now, the field of IO psychology can open many doors to different careers. As I mentioned, organizational consulting, I think most IO psychologists are either internal or external consultants who help managers either within organizations or across different organizations to deal with human behavior related problems. There are many careers in HR, in management. Some of us teach, like myself, and others work in applied research. Here's another link at the bottom of this slide. There's another link here which gives you more information about SIOP and different careers. If you go to this website, you will be able to get more information about careers in IO psychology. Typical curriculum, and this is typical of our field, and what I have here in 3 different buckets or categories are what we have in Alliance curriculum. Okay, in IO or organizational psychology, as we are calling it now. You will have a group of theory subjects, methodology, as well as intervention or applied courses. Now, the theory subjects obviously focus on psychological principles and other related social sciences, such as social psychology, leadership and management, cultural diversity, work motivation, and productivity. But the curriculum also offers a strong dose of methodology, such as advanced statistics, qualitative research, survey, guided feedback, and psychometrics. Within Alliant, because we are very practitioner-oriented, we develop basically people who go out and work in the field We do have a few alumni who go into academe, but the majority of our alumni actually work in the field within organizations or consulting firms, and we offer a lot more applied courses, things like consultation and facilitation, talent staffing and selection, professional communication, organizational development training, and team design. These are just among the things that you will find in an organizational psychology curriculum. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between a master's and a PhD? Well, the easiest answer, but perhaps the most incomplete, is that the master's program is a 2-year program. The PhD program is typically 4 to 5 years in the making. And although within Alliant, most of the first 2 years of coursework in the master's program are shared with the PhD program. However, the PhD program includes more units on research methods and statistics. There is a requirement for a second-year master's thesis, as well as a dissertation in your 4th year. You take advanced electives because you have a longer developmental period. There is an opportunity to specialize in a particular concentration area, and you are required to have more internship hours, which will prepare you for the work in the future. Now, many of our PhD graduates tend to pursue organizational consulting work, which includes working for external consulting firms or putting up their own shops as independent consultants. Many PhD graduates also work in coaching, selection, and assessment, as well as teaching. Okay. In contrast, many of our master's graduates actually work as internal consultants. So many of them work, for example, within human resource management, within organizational change and development, or training and development. They work within organizations as internal consultants. And some of them do work as external consultants, but most of the PhD grads, at least in my experience, tend to do more of the external consulting work. And this includes working for companies such as, Price Waterhouse, Accenture, within their IBM consulting, within their human capital or change management practice. All right. I mentioned earlier that for the PhD programs right now, we have actually, at Alliant, we have actually redesigned and improved our PhD offerings to have 3 different concentration areas, and it's possible more concentration areas could emerge in the future. But at the present time, these are 3 major concentration areas that PhD students can elect to specialize in. One is strategic human resource management, and this features additional courses in strategic management, human resource management, and training and development. This is particularly interesting for people who want to work in the field of HR management and perhaps become a director or a vice president of human resource management within a medium to large organization. Coaching, some people really want to become a management or executive coaching, and as a result, within their concentration, they take courses in leadership assessment, executive coaching, of course, and conflict management. Others are interested in consulting psychology, and this field actually is an even more in-depth version of executive coaching. They build on the executive coaching concentration courses plus additional 14 units and a special internship supervised by a licensed psychologist. And the goal of this is to become what we call a consulting psychologist who is potentially prepared to take the licensure exam in psychology. Okay. Now, one of the questions that came up that one of you have is, do you have to pick a concentration? Yes, at some point you will have. You don't have to do that when you start the program, of course. Usually, this may happen in your second year. As you begin to get to know the field a little bit more and get to be clearer on your own preferences. So eventually, yes, you will select one of these concentrations, and it's also but this doesn't mean you cannot take the other courses. You can take the other courses, of course, as electives. All right, so let me move on. What are some of the careers in organizational psychology? This is one of my favorite slides because it really shows you some diversity of careers as well as the achievements of our Alliant alumni. So here is just a partial listing of what our alumni are doing out there in the field. So they're scattered in various organizations and industries such as ABC Television, Accenture Consulting, Best Buy, City of Hope Hospital. We have professors who teach in different schools such as the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, Digital Insight. Disney is a large employer for our students here in Los Angeles. HealthNet, IBM, Jet Propulsion Labs, Kaiser Permanente, Mattel. I mean, this is a wonderful range of industries, organizations that our alumni are working in. Now, let me go to another option, still another option. Aside from the PhD in IO psychology or organizational psychology, there is another kind of doctorate out there called the PsyD in organization development. Okay, an organization development is a field that represents what you call a value-based approach to systems change. And what I mean by value-based approach is that it is not just a change management as business people define it. It really has a humanitarian base, meaning to say that you think of change and really try to approach change by using humanitarian values such as choice, such as empowerment, such as participative management, respect for the individual, etc. And organization development has a very multidisciplinary curriculum. So it does feature some psychology-based courses, but other courses as well that might be based on anthropology or sociology and business management. So some of the courses that PsyD and OD students would take could be things like organization change and development, process consultation, leadership and management, organizational ethics. And of course, they do have to take some methodological courses such as principles of research design or paradigms of inquiry, so more qualitative research. The program as it is offered in Alliant in the Fresno campus targets mature working professionals. So whereas, for example, an MBA or a master's or PhD in OrgPsych features, tends to attract younger individuals, although we do have working professionals, more people who are in this OD program are mature or older working professionals who want to develop their careers in organizational consulting. Does the job, so one of the questions this is a good one, Michelle, does the job outlook change between the PhD and the PsyD? And it's hard to say. There is quite a bit of overlap in the PsyD and OD and the PhD in org psychology. However, I would say that the IO psychology field tends to be a little broader in terms of career options. The biggest overlap is that the PsyD in OD and the PhD or Masters in org psychology both prepare you to work, for example, as organizational change consultants. Okay, all of you will take similar courses in managing change. However, within the field of IO psychology, you also develop other skills such as selection, psychometrics, talent management, work motivation, rewards, compensation, HR. These are things that are more emphasized in the IO psychology programs and could potentially open the door to other types of careers. Other schools also offer another degree called the Master's or a PhD in Organizational Behavior. Okay, within Alliant, we only offer a Master's in Organizational Behavior at the Fresno campus. We do not offer a PhD in Organizational Behavior. However, other schools do. Okay, and I really want you guys to be very much exposed to all these diversity of degrees that are out there, whether or not we offer them at Alliant or not. Now, what does a Master's in Org Behavior feature? Well, as it is defined, it offers courses that are centered around developing managerial skills. Okay, so some of the courses that Masters in OB, as they call it, include things like organizational theory and systems, organizational ethics, org behavior, fundamental and international perspectives, conflict management, etc. The Los Angeles campus, only let me answer, I think it was Melissa, who does have a question. This degree, the Master's in OB, is offered in the Fresno campus of Alliant. All other campuses do not offer this degree. Instead, we do offer, as I mentioned, the Master's in Organizational Psychology. Okay, there is some overlap. However, it's, as I said, the Master's in Organizational Psychology features more of the psychology-based courses. Okay, what are some careers that are related to org behaviors? People in this who take this field, especially those who finish with a PhD, also go into consulting, human resources, strategic planning, general management, or teaching and research. Those people who take PhD in OB, as I said, not offered in this school, but actually offered in many other universities within their business school. Many of them go into the academe, actually. Many of them teach and do research within general management. Okay, here's still another degree for you guys to consider. It's called the PhD in Leadership. Okay, this is a relatively new degree program, not just within Alliant, but also within the field in general. I think it's really just gotten some traction in the last 5 to 7 years, where the PhD in Leadership targets people who are typically already very experienced leaders, and these people want to further develop their hard and soft skills of leadership. So these people want to develop want to graduate with the PhD, but at the same time still maintain or enhance their degree, enhance their careers as senior leaders within their organizations. So the PhD in Leadership tends to have a multidisciplinary set of courses. So it features courses in IO psychology, but also courses in management, international relations, etc. Okay, so a PhD in Leadership is usually a 4-year degree program, which features the courses I mentioned here, such as OB, strategic management, HR management, various types of leadership seminars and electives, and some methodological courses. And a dissertation is required as well. So currently, the PhD in Leadership is offered in our San Diego campus.